The first game we look for, Robbie, Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away, Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
We'll take that away. We'll get cracking. Let's go, Iggy. Welcome everybody to
and in and out.
Let's not start. Let's not start like that, right?
Happy New Year's Eve, everyone. 2025 happening, and we end in and we end out, and now the end is near. Or do we go? Should I stay or should I go now? It's honestly.
Iggy's banging out.
Listen. We laugh, so we don't have to cry about it. You know what I mean? It's two ways of dealing with it.
But do you know what? We laugh.
Big up,
and
JP.
We laugh and we cry together. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's how it is. So at this minute in time, it's me and Iggy. Still,
he's having a lie down. He's on a chamomile tea. He's having a lie down. He's had enough.
I've got an even better one. He's pulled his hamstring.
he's pulled something. He's pulled something.
He could be out for a couple of weeks. I don't know. It depends on the. It depends.
He's
on
been seen by the club doctors at Spurs. We should be able to see him back in the channel in about 6 weeks for a twinge in his hamstring. He'll be out for 6 weeks. So hopefully, with the rehabilitation, we should have him back in time for spring, for the business end of the season.
It's the high line we play, right? It's that living on the edge line that we play. We don't have any of this happy-go-lucky stuff, but that's what happens when you pull that high line.
But it's New Year's Eve, JP. Tomorrow, everyone's, I'm sure, got something planned, whether they'll be at home or they're going out. So, a little bit of a break before we play again. And, the good thing about it, that Spurs are not playing until, is it the 4th?
Yeah, Saturday,
Yeah, so still Saturday. So a few days off, guys. You guys absolutely enjoy for a little bit before we ruin it all over again on the weekend.
Yeah, we'll get to that, buddy. And don't you
by the way,
worry.
Newcastle.
We'll get to that.
I thought I saw them score a third goal, but it ruled out. So they're 2-0 up away to Man United at the moment.
What? But they're away to Man U.
Yeah, they're at Old Trafford. They're winning 2-0. They had the third one ruled out. It was clearly offside. I just see the rerun of it not long ago. So yeah, that's our opponents next.
It is what it is, man. It is what it is. We'll come to that, Iggy. Don't you worry. We'll come to that. So I guess we got to start with the weekend, right? I know Stella and the boys did a big.
Yeah, it's
2 hours, 3 hours yesterday.
We'll give. Obviously, we weren't on that stream yesterday.
Summarize it.
We'll give our 20 pence worth, because obviously they haven't had.
Summarize it as
we all saw the game.
Yeah. So lineup wise, 6.5. I suppose the only thing I would say is I would ask the question: what's Maddison done?
Went to the darts, and apparently people were really annoyed at the fact that he was at the darts. But guys, when you work, exactly. Yeah, when you work, and you have, and then when you're not working, you have every right to do whatever it is. I have
an honest question actually, and I do want to call it up, but just really quickly, let's just run through everyone in the chat, and a big up to everyone. So big up to Language Angels.
Big up, Paolo.
Tony Rodriguez, man, he's here every single time we're here from the start. Mad Murdoch. Oh, Howling Mad Murdoch. That was a quality show. Big up to Mark, Robbers, Sammy, and as Stellaway says, big up to the boys. But I did meet Sammy when I was having a chat last home game that I went to Liverpool with Mr. Box Office. Sammy popped up and said hello, so big up, man. Adam Jones, nice to see you, my friend. Lappers in the house. Who else we got? We've got Mark, we've got Robert Wilson, we've got Alan.
We got the old with the
Lee.
new in the chat. We got the old name, some old names, some new
He's the
names. Big
man.
up to everyone. Big up, guys.
Mr. Swifty in the house. Big up to Rob Frank, who says much love to us all. And I'm just scanning through to make sure I don't pick up in get anyone twice and stuff like that. But Kiwi Spurs, what's up, man?
Big up, guys.
Massive hit to you. So all right, well, let's just crack on with that first question. And we'll come back to the game, I guess. So in terms of matters, right? What's your opinion of him going to the darts, commenting? I don't know what it was, to be honest. I presume it was some sort of a picture on Instagram, and I know he came back. Somebody replied to him, and he came back saying, "Don't be a dafty" or something like that, right?
They said, "Don't be a wally" or something like that. Don't be such a wally. At the end of the day, for me personally, I it's my opinion, guys. I don't see anything wrong with it. He's done. You know, he played. He was a sub, wasn't he? Came on. He contributed in the way that he could. Didn't get the result that we wanted. Of course, we weren't happy with that. With a draw. We haven't beaten Wolves at home since 2022. That was the last time we beat them at home. We haven't been able to beat them since, and we've struggled even at their ground. So it was never going to be an easy game going into it. But nonetheless, fans in particular, were big up, guys. Fans weren't happy at the fact that I think Johnson was another that was pictured being at the darts on the evening. But at the end of the day, the way I see it is, they played. They done what they had to do. They contributed in whatever way, which way. They can be happy or not happy with the performance, but that doesn't take away the fact of that they can't go out at night, even if it means that. Hey, listen, it's not right that we consider them not to. You know, they shouldn't be seen in public unless they win or they've played well. I'm not. Nah. But what they're doing their time is their business. It's not ours to criticize for them.
I think it's probably whether it's that I don't know, you're in the team and you have a responsibility, and then like,
so every time you don't get a good result, JP, you should be locked indoors. Nah, it doesn't work like that for me.
My thoughts would be the fact that, one, I don't understand why he didn't start that game. He's got the most assists for us so far this season, right?
Yeah.
We're playing a team that were bottom four, and that would be a game you would expect him to probably purr in. I know with Maddison, he hasn't really shown it 100% all the time, has he? He hasn't really taken games by the scruff of its neck. He hasn't really controlled games, boss games, as you say. This is my pitch. This is what I'm going to do. You guys ain't touching me today. He had a good game against City. Give him that. Obviously, he had a lot of time. He had a lot of space, and I think that's one of the things that I would say. Without time and space, he finds it difficult, right? However, he's still our top assister at our club and at our team at the moment. And when we're needing heads and we're needing positive results, I don't understand why he doesn't start, unless him and Ange have had some sort of a fallout, an altercation in some way whatsoever off the pitch that we don't know. And Ange's, maybe, is he being stubborn? Is he putting the foot down? Is he ruling the roost to say, do you know what, I'm in charge, and if you don't want to do it my way, maybe Maddison's gone to him and gone, do you know what, this system's crazy. It's not working. We're all running our socks off here for like no real output at the end of it. If something like that has happened, then if the manager's not picking him, he's training every day of the week, he's ready for games, and if the manager's not playing him, giving him 20 minutes at the end of every game, why should he not go to the darts?
I think. Listen. I've got another take here. I think what Ange is trying to do, especially in the midfield, is to manage the minutes between the players. I know Bissouma didn't play the last one against was it Forest? He didn't play He came on late sub because we had injuries at the back, and he came on then. So he rotated him, brought back. Was it Bentacle? He brought back.
Bentacle.
Yeah, so because he's probably one of the freshest ones we've got in midfield, and he played him again against Wolves. So he brought Bissouma back. He's brought Maddison. Obviously, right now, I think he's when we can't play both Maddison and Kulusevski in the three in midfield, so he's alternating. But right now, I think he's preferring Kulusevski, who at some point or other, JP, he's going to need to manage his meetings. Kulu, yeah,
Kulu.
we're gonna have
Yeah,
to, yeah, we're gonna have
100%.
to manage his minutes because he's playing every single game right now, and not just part. He's playing full. So, mate, and so I think what happened, you'll probably find. I don't know if we're gonna do it in the next game against Newcastle. Maybe Kulu might be the one to make way for Maddison. But I agree with you. I personally, I haven't. I think Maddison's been all right. I don't think he's been amazing. I don't think he's been bad either. He's contributed in his ways, assisted his goals. So I see Maddison playing probably in the next one. Perhaps Kulu will be rested for that one. We're gonna have to manage Son as well because he's. Listen, I know he is getting absolutely pelters by everyone, and look, and the critique is there. It's right. If he's not playing well, you got to call him out. But the way we praise players when he does play well, I'm continuously believe. I know people saying he's finished, he's done, he's this and that. I just think he's physically spent, man. I don't think he's had enough break or recovery or something's not quite right. And I don't listen. I understand the years go for everybody. You know, everyone. We all get old and stuff like that. So I can understand people saying that he's lost a bit of pace and that, but I don't think he's physically there. Even when he took that penalty on the weekend, he didn't look. When it done, there was a close-up shot of his face as he's about to take the kick. He didn't look confident in taking it. A good save by Sarr, but
something looks off, doesn't it?
yeah, he looks off, and that's not just about him losing a yard of pace and stuff, because you can still be really good. It looks like it's just out of sorts.
His mind's not in the right place.
Yeah, he lacks clarity in his game, in the way that he wants to play, and sometimes it's just like you need a break, and where he hasn't had that, I don't think, certainly not long enough. We're paying the price for it. We're not seeing the best player. But then again, what is the alternative? Because that's the people say on the left hand side, it's only going to be him and Werner, because Odebert's not an option at the moment. So until Oderbert comes into play, I don't see where he's going to get the game, the rest that he needs. The games are coming thick and fast, so we have to go. We have to ride this period, and that's where I feel him going back to Maddison is. I think that's what's happening. He's trying to rotate the players because it's the only area, if you think about it, JP, it's the only area where we can do a bit of rotation. At the back, we can't do it. Goalkeeper, we can't do it. The back, we're really down on numbers there. In the forward line, other than Solanke, and even Solanke's he's playing pretty much. So the only place that we have a little bit of a rotation is in midfield, and that's where I think Maddison and Bentancur and Bissouma and Kulusevski, that's where they're between them, and Sarr, of course.
But then, as you were saying just now, it's 100% right in terms of realistically, it's Maddison and like Kulu, right, at them two.
Yeah,
and then you've got Bissouma, Papasar, Bentacle, kind of like as the others.
In some games, you can play Kulu and Maddison together, but a lot of these games at the moment, right now, we can't sustain it. We need to have two out of Sarr, Bentancur, and Bissouma playing alongside them.
I mean, the way we started with Johnson on the right, obviously Maddison wasn't there. Kulu took up that spot. Yeah. And then we played with Sonny on the left, and obviously
the team at the moment pretty much
Slanky in the middle. Yeah. From a forwardy point of view, you'd go, okay, that's probably all right. I would probably still prefer maybe Kulu playing slightly right as he does, because he seems to give us more to me than like Brendan Johnson does.
Mm.
We will come to his goal, but in terms of I know we touched on Sonny just now. His form has just totally gone out the window. As you say, we don't have a replacement for him. He does look totally off it. I don't know if you watched it on TV, but just before he took his pen, I think there was a little visual which came up, which basically said 4 penalties over to his left, Sonny's left, and 1 to the right. And the first thing I said to like my other son when I was watching it with him, son, please go to your right. Keeper study stuff like that, right?
Yeah, of course they're there. They get all the info.
And it wasn't a great penalty from like my perspective. You see Kane hitting those penalties, but Kane hits them with pace. You ain't even if you dive that way, you're not going to get that, right? It was almost again. It was like tepid. We'll place it in the corner and kind of like almost see what happens. There wasn't any conviction to it, if you know what.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying.
No. I completely. I get it. Totally get it.
How does Son come out of this cycle?
Well, there's only two ways, guys. There's only 2 ways, and that is, do you rest him and then let players play, and we'll keep him on the bench for a few games, and hopefully that would help him in finding his best form, or you carry on playing him regardless, in the hope that he hits form. I don't know. Right now, he's like you know when you're like, you go to work and you're just so spent, but you're going to work anyway, and you're just physically
It's
there,
going through
but
the motions.
you're going through that period. He's thinking that I got to keep going because we got people that are off sick, or people are absent, or people are not, they're not well, or whatever it is. You're short at work, and you're like, you're spent, but you're having to go in because, and sometimes you just have to ride that moment until the better moments come. Now, you either do that way, or in this case, this is put him on a bench and maybe play Johnson on the left, Kulu on the right, and then Solanke in the middle, or perhaps Werner has to start playing a few more games, because game time wise, he hasn't played that much, Werner, but then he gets the other sticks. It's madness, and you're thinking of the amount of games we got. That's the thing, though. But you know what? This goes back to the lack of preparation that we had in the summer, man.
Exactly.
I know people don't want to hear it and don't want to talk about it, and it's annoying. Believe me when I say it's annoying for us to talk about it. But when you go from last season's team squad with 1 game a week, and then you've qualified for Europe, you're going to have the domestic cup. So it's not like someone's sprung you on it, it's ambushed you with this stuff. We knew we was going into it in the new season. Numerically, we're not set up, and not just numerically, but having a situation where you can make the changes and the level not drop. We've got like 11, 12 good players, and then we've got squad players, and when we're having to rotate, it drops off. And then, of course, it's not just that. Then it's the way that we're playing and being found out. Essentially, we've been found out a long time ago now. Now the teams know how to set up against us, and they know how to hurt us, and they hurt us in the same way, game after game after game, which we can go into. So what I'm saying is, there's that. There's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. Together, we find ourselves where we are. And people, I know 1 or 2 in the chat already said, like, Ange's got to go, and another one saying give Ange to the end of the season. I was on for a long time on here. I've said we should give Ange to the end of the season, but when I see us 11th, then we got the month that we got Newcastle coming up, the 2 the cup games against Liverpool. We've got Everton, Arsenal. These are big games coming up. And obviously the Samworth games in the cup as well. These are big games coming up, and we're not going into those games in any form. Actually, no, we are going in any form. We are going in a bad form. Relegation form. We are going in there. with no confidence. Even all of a sudden, even a Tamworth game starting to think like, I know we are better than them, like squad wise, and but even then, we're not going in any of these games in any sort of confidence. And you just think to yourself, when are we going to hit a run of games, JP, where we go 3-4 games where we win? We have not done that all
I
season.
can't see it.
We're not looking like we're going to do it anytime soon. And we are sliding down that Premier League table. So on league standings alone, the level we've won 2 in 9, I think it is. And we won last game we won at home was the 3rd of November against Aston Villa, 4-1. 3rd of November. We are now on the 30th of December. So when people say to me, give him to the end of the season, I was in that camp. But then I look at that and I think to myself, with all the things I've just said considered, where's the next one going to come from? And I think, can we go 12th, 13th, 14th? Where do you draw the line and say, you know what, enough? That's why I'm now starting to change my stance and say, look, man, I don't know if this is sustainable. But I think by the time we get to the North London derby,
if Iggy, before we get to the North London derby, Newcastle, I fear, and we've got Liverpool in the cup, right? The way they dismissed us the other day, literally dismissed us.
They're dismissing everyone at the moment.
As if we were something, as if we were something on the bottom of their foot that they like stepped in, right? I said, Diggy, start of the season. I've said it before. Do you know what? I don't care about the league. If we win a cup, that will be an achievement, right? We're in this for silverware. I want that happiness to be able to go with fans to a final, to be able to win it at a final, to be able to jump up, sing, joy, have all of that up the high street, whatever it is. I want us to enjoy winning that piece of silverware. That's what I want. If we finish 15th in the league, do you know what? I'm really not fussed. The league, to me, we don't have the ambition, I feel, at our leadership group to be able to fulfill or to be able to have a challenge for the league, right? Top 4 is their aim. I know that, right? That's the current regime. That's currently their aim, right? Now, I have been joyful before about us getting to the top 4, but once we've got there, have we done anything to kick on? Have we done anything to?
No.
Well, the point of going in the Champions League, yes, we go in the Champions League, we play with the big boys, right? Wednesday night, you hear the tune, all of that. Fans get buzzing all around the place. What do we do to actually prepare our teams to be able to have a bit of a run in that competition? Nothing. Or history says so far, we've not really kicked on. Conte, perfect opportunity. We've got there a couple of times now, right? Poch, all of that era. I know we got to the final and stuff. Did we win it? No. But whenever we've got in that competition, we've not really taken the fact that we've qualified for top 4.
Yeah,
so this is what we're going to do with it, right? So to me, top 4 is fine. Right now, where we are and what my thought was at the start of the season, I don't mind finishing 15th if we win a cup. I said a couple of weeks ago, Andrew's got 3 lives left for me because he's in the 3 cups, right? I'll be honest and say 1 life in that League Cup now. Looking at the way we're playing now, looking at the way our opposition are playing, you don't know what's going to happen, right? They may play their kids, they may take it easy. However, their kids will want to prove something, as they did in the final when they played a couple of years ago and won it, right? Their kids won it, right? So even their kids are not going to be shabby, right? So, but the opportunities that we get in this cup at the moment, I would say, looking at it, are diminishing in that competition. The FA Cup, we don't know, right? But when you get to the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, the big boys are going to be there.
The big boys are going to be there, and you can't. And if we approach it the way we have been, with the tactics that we display, we're not going to make it if we don't adjust, and we haven't showed anything to say that.
And realistically, I feel Europe's probably that competition. We have an opportunity if we buck ourselves up, right? We have to be able to kind of, even if we do, we need to concentrate on that. So therefore, if I stand back and go, do you know what? If we're 15th in the league, We're 15th in the league. And if that makes the fans go against the board, fabulous. I'll keep Anjin in there all the way till it happens. As much as it hurts me right now, if you look at the bigger picture, is everyone going to unite if we're struggling with 16th, 15th, 14th in that zone?
But we're a different animal in the cup competitions.
But even if we go out the cup, Siggy, right?
Yeah.
At that point, I think a lot of fans would probably be in the same boat as he's still in the cup, he's still in the cup, he's still in the cup, right?
Yeah.
Once we get out those 3 cups, and then if we're monitoring around, flirting around your 16th, your 15th, your 14th, at that point, do you think fans will unite?
The thing is, man.
That's what needs to happen, in my point of view. But
The thing is, the manager is a problem, okay, for the things that we've been speaking about in the last sort of 20, 25 minutes and what we've spoken about in many streams now. The stubbornness and the no willing to change or adjust or adapt, not only to the way our circumstances, our injury problems and stuff like that, not adjusting anything to try and get us through this bad period, but also not adjusting to the opposition, because I find that incredible that we cannot adjust the way that we play depending on who we're playing against, particularly if the teams are on the same level as us or even better than us. That's one area. Then you have the other area, the direction of the club and the people that guide this club. And there's so many layers to this, right? You have the directors who run it, and then you have that the sporting director, the sporting manager, whatever it is. Then you have the recruitment. You have all these layers at the club before you then get to the manager and you get to the players. And if all these components are not bang on point, it falls apart. Big up, Brian. It all falls apart, and there's so many layers at the club that is clearly not working on a footballing front. And I will always try and keep it football. We can discuss all the other stuff that they're doing outside of football, which is, I've always said, I don't have a problem with any of that. But do not neglect the part that I love the most, which is the football, which is what this club is, a football club. And that side of things, for me, the only way this works is doing a complete reset. Now, can we do this right now? Can we get new owners? Can we get a new director of football? We can't do this. We can't do everything right now. All of it. We can't. Every the concept of it is fine, but then to actually make it happen is another. So there's going to be you have to give them the time to do all of that if we indeed do it. So the fastest thing and the quickest thing to change is the manager, of course, as we know, and we've done this numerous amount of times. We've been there many a times, and right now, if we want to salvage something, I feel personally we have to do it right now if we want to try and do something this season, even to try and salvage this year. I'm not talking about making top 4, because I think that's out of the question. Even making Europa would be a tough ask, but to try and navigate the situation that we're currently in. Because I say this again, guys, whether we admit to it or we're not, the numbers do not lie. We are in relegation form. I have to stress this out. Look at the numbers. Look at the league standings. Look at the form. Look at the amount of games that we've won. Look at the games we lost, the goals conceded, the goals against for, and all of that. Look at everything, guys. It tells you very clearly that we are in relegation form. And I said in my last video, the post-match video, I said, I don't see where the next win is coming from. Even if we were to beat Newcastle, it gives us a little bit of breathing space. And again, Newcastle are what, 2-0 up? They're winning at Old Trafford, so they're in a good run of form. They're going to be coming at us with confidence. And given our situation, why would they not come to us confidently? And then the games, we've got Liverpool. We've got some tough games this month. I'm saying this month as in January. I'm talking as if we're in January already. So when all things considered, mate, we have to be careful how we navigate, particularly in the Premier League. Forget the cups. What's the worst thing can happen in the cups? We lose to Liverpool, we go out. Finished. All right. But in the Premier League, we can be sliding down slots. We got to start, thinking ahead. We got to start looking us behind now as well. That's where we're at. And I just don't see, given our situation, where we're going to get 3 or 4 games, 3 or 4 wins that we badly need right now, where they're going to be coming from. And when I can't see that, it's very difficult for me to say, am I still Angie and I'm still Angie? Upon hearing what I've just said, of course I'm going to be Angie out now. And for me, right now is the time it's got to go. And you look at the stadium, JP. Was you there at the stadium? Was you at the last game? Did you hear the boos and the whistles at the end of the game? You see the atmosphere. Did you hear the atmosphere? Because I thought it was very, very quiet for large periods of that. A few minutes come on you Spurs, and the Levy chant, the Levy dreadful Kulusevski song. For me, you can feel it in the atmosphere. If you go to the ground, you can feel that there's no conviction where this win's going to come. So we all know that Angie's a problem. Although, like I said, there's many, many problems at this club. But right now, the quickest one to change is the manager. And if we don't do this now, I think by the time we play the North London derby, I think it could be too late. Because then you're like, depending where you are in the league, we don't basically.
Well, we
don't want to get sucked in. Once you start getting sucked into that low bottom part of the table, whether we care about the Premier League or not, we don't want to get sucked in.
I'm going to ask you honestly.
Then you need the fight, and I don't think we've got that at the moment.
I'll ask you honestly, Iggy, or I'll answer for myself or speak for myself.
Of course.
Is that if I go, I'm going to zoom out and say, let us flirt with that bottom 3, right? Who's that going to hurt the most?
I hear where you're going with this, and I think everyone understands where you're going with this. But mate, it would first and foremost, it would hurt me. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not saying
it's not going to hurt me. It hurts me now,
massively. It would hurt, but I understand what you're saying. But what they will do, what they will normally, as soon as the only time that Levy has ever reacted to anything and got rid of a manager, if he feels that the attention is going straight to him, which is what happened under the last manager. It went straight to him, and he thought, whoa, stop right there, pull the plug, and gone. And then gets a new manager, get the bounce, and all of a sudden that thing pointing at him starts turning away again.
It's another 18 months down the line.
They've done it for how many managers has he changed? 15, 16, 17, 18 managers in 25 years, and it's
and that's what I mean as a fan, me personally, zooming out, and you go, am I happy that it's just going to continue again?
The cycle
we'll get rid of him. Yeah. We'll get another manager. It will happen again. And another 18 months, it will happen again. What's the point of me being here moaning about it? What's the point of me caring about it? What's the point in everyone because everyone's just going through the motions, right?
But you got to look at it. This managerial post at Tottenham Hotspur is only going to be taken by managers who perhaps want to make a name for themselves in the Premier League. They'll be taking him because they'll be earning more than what they were earning at the previous club. Those are the kind of managers that we're going to attract, or the managers perhaps who are just at the past their peak and start heading downwards. Those are the kind of managers we will get at this club. Up and coming managers who want to take they're ambitious and want to go places. This isn't a post for them. They will never ever be associated to Tottenham. And that's the problem right there, JP. That is the massive problem. Let's give an example. Still put a post up on the community post about wanted Areola from Bournemouth, and Areola is a great and up and coming manager from Bournemouth. So coming to Tottenham, it was it's going up. It's part of this journey, moving upwards. But fundamentally, that's all it would ever be for him. I don't think he would be like, you know what, I can really turn. He might be able to do a Pochettino. Who's to say that he won't? But when it all comes down to it, it'll get to a point of his career where he's just thinking, right, it's time to kick on. It's time to go to the next level, maybe. The same way with Poch, it was time to go to the next level. This is as far as I can go, and then the ties get cut, and that's fundamentally why. Evening, Lee. That's fundamentally why we will never ever change the trajectory at this club for the better, but not just the only times we make changes is so short-sighted. It's a bounce, or we might go through 6 months, 12 months, 18 months of it, and then it goes again. We need to change trajectory for a long distance, 5 to 7 years. We need to really I just feel like we're going round in circles, man. And it's like
100% agree with you, and I'll come to Lee in 2 seconds. But kind of like what I wanted to say was, I had this chat earlier, right, with Shy, and one of the things I said to him was, "Okay, manager, yeah, let's get rid of the manager, or kick him to touch, kind of get someone else in, right?" Who the level of manager that we're likely going to go for, it's never going to be that top level of manager, right? Because they just won't come. They've seen people like Conte and Jose get burnt. They ain't going to come, right? And the names that are being bantered around, obviously, we've got your Thomas Frank, we've got Areola. Now, one of the things that I would guess that we would, the way Tottenham, how would Tottenham sell it to one of these managers, right? Oh, come and manage our fancy stadium. Compared to what they have now, they've got an opportunity now to excel at whatever little club that they're at. And I don't mean to be disrespectful in any way whatsoever, but even if you go from Fulham's perspective, right? Fulham's achievement would be what, getting in the Europa, tight high level would be Champions League for Fulham. Not really, never ever gonna. I don't feel they'll win the Premier League. I don't feel they'll get in the Champions League. So for what's his name at Fulham? For him, really.
JP, but that's where we're at right now, though.
No,
Fulham
I
ahead
know.
of us.
No, I know. So why are they going to come?
So are Bournemouth.
Why is he going to come? Is my question, right? Areola, right? Forest are frigging. Look at Forest. They're second in the league right now, right? Areola at Bournemouth. I think for him, what European football? If they come to Tottenham, right? The first ask is going to be you have to qualify for the Champions League. That's the target of this business, right? You've got to qualify for the Champions League. That means getting involved with Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, at least them 4. So we've got to oust one of those 4. For the next manager to come in, that's his target. So and if you say to him, well, I'm going to ask you to get top 4, tell me how you're going to do it. And he's going to go, I need a left back, I need a right back, I need a centre back, I need a holding midfielder, I need someone better on the left wing, I need someone better on the right wing, I need a backup striker, I need this, I need that. He's going to go, okay, I need 7, 8 players, let's say, as an example. Are we going to give him those tools to be able to achieve that?
He'll probably say, well, you got Reguilon in, yeah?
We've signed Odebert, we've signed Brennan Johnson. Crack on with them, right? And are they going to do any different is what I'm saying. Are they suddenly going to come in and, let's get a new manager now. That will save us 3-4 games? Worst case, Mason to the end of the season. What's your take on it, Lee? Out now or keep him to the end of the season is the question.
No.
Boys, I don't know. I'll tell you, I'm broken. I really am broken with the situation at the moment. Listen, do you know what? I think right now, looking at where we are, I don't think even for the likes of Silva or Areola or Frank, maybe not as much Frank, I don't think that we are in a great position where these guys would actually leave their clubs. I mean, they're on an upward trajectory, right? And if I'm a manager, would I? The tempt of Spurs is obviously going to be there, right? With the name of the club, we're apparently a big club or whatever you want to call it.
Is it really though? Do you feel it?
Is that enough? Also,
but do you actually feel there's something about Spurs that you as a manager would want to come, given everything that you can see happening at Spurs?
This is what I was going to say, Iggy. With knowing, we've got to be one of the most talked about clubs, right? Not because of what happens on the field, but with what happens off the field. You've never heard of a chairman talked about so much as Daniel Levy, etc., etc. I think any manager with half a brain cell has got to look at what happens with our managers and think, do you know what? The temptation's there, but is that really for me? I've got it good where I am. We might not be a Spurs type club, but I get to run the team how I want. We look at players together. I don't get handed people left, right, and centre that I don't necessarily want, which I think happens a lot at our club. And I'd have to say, even some of the people that we think we should be able to get, I don't think right now, especially not mid-season, is that we would be able to pull these guys out of their clubs right now. I just don't think it's there.
So, are you talking like Marco Silva? Are you talking about Marco Silva, Areola? But the thing is, they're able to do their job and not be under the scrutiny that Spurs currently are under. So for me, they're the dream ideal scenario.
Poison chalice, Iggy, as we've always said, the managerial job at our place. So for me, whether we get rid of him or not, and I personally, I'm not. I was never sold on him in the first place. He's not showed me anything over 19 months to make me think he is the guy for the job long term. I don't think Levy will get rid of him. And if he does, then I think that we would be 100% stuck with someone like Mason until the end of the season, because I don't think we've got anything at the moment to entice that type of manager away from a comfortable job that they've got. I think he'll leave it till much, much later in the summer or towards the summer before we decide to get rid of him. And a lot of people won't like to hear that, but at the end of the day, I think it is what it is. So, yeah, we are in probably one of the lowest ruts situations that this club has been in for a while. And I think we're all coping. We really are in coping mode at the moment. No,
I was just saying earlier on before you came on, we ain't won at home now since in the Premier League. Forget the cups. In the Premier League, we've not won at home since the Villa game back in 3rd of November, I believe it was. That's a hell of a long
games
time.
Or something, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a hell of a long time to not win at home. I'm now scrolling to try and find when we put a run of 3 or 4 games. All I'm trying to do is highlight the severity of the problem that I'm currently seeing at this club.
Well, I don't know where we get points from, Iggy. That's my issue. You look at the games.
This season, we've not won 3 or 4 games in a row. I don't think we put 3 wins together in the Premier League. So I've got to look somewhere along like the end of last season before I can even find. Okay, yeah, it was the end of last season where we beat Burnley, we beat City, and we beat Sheffield United. The last 3 games of the season, and then after that, we have this season. It hasn't happened. So last season was the end of last season was the last time we put a game of 3 games in a row that we won. This season, we've drawn, we've lost, we've won, but it's been up and down, and now we have gone like for a run of games where we haven't been able to put. Like I said, I'm trying to put the cups, because in the cups we have been different. There's no two way about it. Europa, we've been decent, and the Carabao we know. But I think to myself, after the Man City game that we won, we had lost to Ipswich before. We had beat Villa, obviously, and then after that we drew at Fulham at home, lost to Bournemouth away, lost to Chelsea at home, won at Southampton away, lost to Liverpool, lost to Forest, drawn to Wolves. That's the reality of it. And you look at, I mean, we're talking about six odd games there now, 6-7 games, and I'm just thinking to myself, and we are now like, we're now between obviously New Year's coming up, and we've got like an almighty. I was saying we've got big January coming up, and I don't know if we've got players coming in or if we even have. We're linked as always with players, but I don't really
it's
feel.
the season. It's the media frenzy again, isn't it, Iggy? I mean,
Yeah.
come on, let's be honest. Now we're talking about being linked with a loan move for Jack Grealish. As I said to people early in the chat,
On the 32nd, of January, you'll come in. I saw that one. I saw that.
Okay, so listen. So we got Jack Grealish, right? Potential. I mean, I don't think it's even. I don't even think it's a starter. At the end of the day, I don't think we unless Man City are going to pay his wages, we're not paying his wages because we know Levy doesn't pay those type of wages. So it ain't happening. As simple as that in my eyes. He's told us that. That's the way it is. But now you've got to look at it and go, right, well, where does he play? Predominantly on the left. Okay, so we've already got Son. We've already got Werner. We've now got Yang. We've got Odegaard that also plays there who's potentially coming back. Where does he fit in? Are we buying him to make 5 on the left? I mean, think about other positions first before you look at him. I think we've got enough cover there, even though I think potentially he's probably better than most of those people there. But why buy these players if we're now not going to play them? As far as I'm concerned, Yang's in there to come and give Werner and Son a good run for their money. That's what we bought him for, right? And then you're talking about Skriniar. For crying out loud, behave, will you?
No, Skriniar's already done. Guys, forget Skriniar.
I mean,
he's going to Galatasaray.
It's weak, isn't it? It's like weak. It's like weak. It's even weak. Never mind weak journalism. It's just even like a weak attempt.
But all these guys lap it up. This is the problem. You're getting videos left, right, and centre now saying, "Oh, we're actually this Terzic is already signing an agreement." He never said that. As someone in wherever he is, he's managing right now, off the cuff said, "Oh yeah, he was expecting a
actually not heard good things about him either."
God, it's the media frenzy against Spurs. I don't see it with any other teams, and this is what gets you down more than anything as well. And I'm just like, do you know what? I think we definitely need a couple of players for backup in January. I don't see us making full-term signings. If anything, we might make a couple of loan signings. We might bring a couple of loanee players back because he just hasn't got the. He's already spent however much in Ange's tenure. Why anyone thinks he's spending hundreds of millions of pounds more, I do not know, because he's not that type of business person. He doesn't sell like that. I think we've got to put up with what we've got. I think Ange needs to learn to rotate and maybe, have a bit more faith in the youth. I mean, I've said it before and I said it again. There's a hierarchy at this place, and it all depends what your numbers are. It will depend on whether you get played or not. I mean, we've been harping on about Archie Gray, and he's not a centre back and stuff like that. And we've had centre backs in the team that could have played in that position. He chose not to do them. We've had left backs and right backs that he's chose not to play them and play someone out of position. I mean, that's no one else's choice but his. So, I don't see where positional wise in January where he puts the money down to buy anyone. I mean, I think again, you could say, well, we're short up front. Solanke's running every game. Well, we've got Lancashire that's been cutting it up in the under-21s. I mean, give the guy some minutes. If you're that worried about players and that, give him some minutes, but he never does. So I don't know. It's all a bit strange to me. It really is this season.
For me, when you're launching youngsters, particularly like the names like Lancashire and stuff like that, you've got to bring them in the right context. I believe right now, with a rut, we're clearly in a bit of a rut. Fans at the ground, I saw and I heard in the last game, were very, very quiet, and they did a pile-on against the manager because he's taking a flak for the results. The players, how many of our players right now are above 7 out of 10. So when you look at all of that, the youngsters right now, I mean, look what we've just done to Archie Gray. We have put him in the deep end at centre back, where he's in a position he's never played before, and it's a sink or swim situation where he's like, no one's really going to go after him because they understand that he's been thrown in there, and we've got no other centre backs. But look at the scenario that we're creating for our youngsters to try and break into this first team. I know sometimes, these are the perfect scenarios that team players come in and say, "Look, man, this is my chance to show what I can do." But in a lot of the cases, they are set up to fail, I feel. And I don't know right now, because you got some proper players in that team like Son and Maddison and like good players who are struggling as well. And
Yeah, listen, I fully expect, Iggy, on the 12th of January, when we go to Tamworth, if I don't see Lancashire, Yang, Bergvall, Gray being the spine of that team, then he has no interest in youngsters whatsoever. And this whole thing about a youth project is just complete waffle. Because that's the prime game to play them in, right? Put a couple of seniors in there with them. Spence, even play Reguilon. If you centre backs for back, I mean, Dragison's not really a youth player, is he? He's a proper centre back. Get Donnelly in there. I mean, it's got to be the perfect situation for him, right? So here you go, boys. Here's your chance. Go and show me what you've got. I'm telling you, I think you'll find that most of the first team players will be playing that game, even though we got Arsenal 3 days later.
But like, even trust them. Kind of like we had a laugh with Iggy earlier, just now in terms of Tamworth. You go, oh, do you know what? But
every game is like that.
A team like Tamworth, they will be licking their lips. Right?
Oh yeah, they can't wait.
Do you know what? Down the side, even the manager the other day, Wolves manager, what did he say? He's only been there 3 days. What did he say? Oh yeah, we looked at them. The way they free kick. Oh, like did you work that free kick? Is that something that you brought to the team? Did you work on that in training? Is that? I looked at I studied their videos, and it looked like they don't press at the edge of the box. So I thought that's how we should play a free kick if we get it there. He's only been here 3 days. The man's worked out how to do us over.
He's only got to look at games that previous teams have played against us, and it's a copy and paste situation, because we only have one way of playing and one way only. And for me, the crucial point was after we beat City, and where we altered the way we played a little bit. And I said, I remember saying it that night, I said, we're not going to know if these changes were forced upon us and we had to adjust, or whether we actually learned something and tweaked it. And we will know in the next 3 or 4 games after the City game if there's any truth in what happened in that City game.
Forced.
And it was absolutely, and then we got the answers that I got my answers, and I thought, you know what, we didn't take even if by fluke a little bit, he didn't look at that City game and say, do you know what? Yeah, maybe I should bring that in. Maybe it wasn't part of it worked. It wasn't part of my plan. I got a bit lucky there because I was forced into that corner, but it worked. Maybe I could carry that on, and I'll keep my fundamentals, but I will make a couple of changes what I think actually worked. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong to keep what you believe in, but tweak in the areas that you feel like, you know what, this actually works better, and add it to what your philosophy of playing football. There's nothing wrong with that. It shows growth. It shows adjustment. It shows that you can see something that works, even though it wasn't part of your plan. It doesn't matter how you came about it, whether it's by luck, whether it's because of learning, adapting, or whatever it is. But you keep your fundamentals that you believe in totally, and you adjust to it. And then I would have said, you know what? He's learning. He's adapting. He's figured it out. Mate, we're now in this situation right here, and we see the things. How many times you watch a game and you see the goal that we conceded, and you think to yourself,
it's pretty much the same thing.
It's like a rerun. It's like a rerun of the goals we conceded all over the time.
This is the thing, Iggy. Yesterday, the last 20 minutes of yesterday's game, it seemed to me like we dropped back, and we were just allowing them to come on to us. It seemed like a different Tottenham, and I don't know whether it's like he actually did it, but it didn't make any difference because we still looked like we were going to concede that goal.
But the thing
And the
is,
manner in which we did was just
there was a gap, wasn't it?
It was just ridiculous, and I thought, well, maybe he has, maybe for once we're actually sitting back and we're just going to see this game out and defend, and it still wasn't effective. We still didn't do it in the end, and I'm just like, the thing that gets me more than anything, right, is that I watch like the Bournemouth Fulham game, and I watched other games, and I just see 11 players playing as a team, right? A cohesive, well-drilled, oiled team who all know their roles. When I watch Tottenham, it's just like someone running around like this. You don't know what's happening next, what's going on next. It just seems a little bit disjointed. And I don't know whether that's purely through the way that he's trying to... I won't use the word coach because he doesn't coach players. We know this. It's just the way that he's trying to allow people to interchange too much with each other. I mean, that's one of his philosophies, isn't it? You don't really have positions. Everyone can play a different position. You learn the system and the role, and it's interchangeable and stuff. And I just think, for me, it just seems like they're not getting it right. It's too much. It's too complex, and it's a bit too. I know what I should be doing, but I'm doing this. But then I'm like, am I doing it right? What's going on? And this whole inverting of the fullbacks. I mean, all of a sudden I'm seeing them do something different. It doesn't look like they're inverting, and I'm just like, well, that's not what Ange's supposed to be saying. And I think a lot of them are just getting confused now, and it doesn't look cohesive. It doesn't look like 11 solid players on the pitch. It's always seems to be a case of, well, the biggest question to every time we're in a match, what on earth is going to happen today? Because we just don't know, right? That's the uncertainty, and it's the inconsistency and uncertainty of what Tottenham team is going to go up, which makes it even more frustrating, more than anything.
I think they're just not physically up for doing it, Lee, to be honest with you.
Listen, the injuries, like, the amount of injuries that we're picking up as well.
Isn't it? You go, I'm still going to get Ben Davies. I'm still going to ask Dragerson. I'm still going to ask all of them to do exactly what Van der Ven does. It's just not going to happen.
For me, the injury situation, the amount of injuries that we pick up at training, and I have to say our medical staff in the last few years have been absolute shambles.
Well, right now they're proper overworked.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't think they're good enough. I don't think our medical staff's good enough. I don't think they're to the level. I'm convinced.
Mate, I'm pretty sure that they've been poked straight out of veterinary college. That's what they've been.
Yeah, I'm convinced something's not quite. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I just find it that it's incredible the amount of injuries that we have year after year after year. This is not 1 year that we're talking about. Conte was running about this before, and it's just. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, for me, going past how I see the next sort of month or 2 months, I just don't know, guys. I don't know. If guys in the chat as well, man, feel free to put it in the comments. I don't see how we're gonna get out of this situation. It's not like saying, well, yeah, it's easy. Win your next game, and then you start winning the next one. No, so I just don't see. Like, I feel like our opponents have got a number on us. They've set up in a way where they believe that they can get a point or 3, and I think they don't come. They don't come to Tottenham Hotspur's ground. Forget our away form, which is shocking, by the way. Our away form has been shocking this year, last year. Last season, and the whole of year 2024 has been absolutely shit. But even the home teams coming to our home ground, doesn't matter if they're top team, middle team, or bottom team, they all believe right now that they can set up to not only nick a point, but actually when they do, and even Wolves were testimony of this on the weekend. The last quarter of the game, they could even try and nick 3 points. And although and they almost did. So I'm trying to say here that any team right now coming to Tottenham, I'm not fearful of the Tottenham. We should always make the home ground a fortress, which we did to a certain extent, but now it's gone. So they fancy the chances, and I don't think any team right now facing Tottenham are worried about not getting something out of the game, because they can set up in a way they can hurt us, because we're very easy to read, we're very easy to adjust to, and they just got to copy and paste what the other teams have done, team of their level. So if you've got really, Wolves who've been struggling up until they changed their manager, would have looked at the likes of Ipswich, would look at
What did
and so
Ipswich
forth.
do? What did
Yeah,
Palace
and
do?
what would
What
it,
did...
and to say, look, now there's a time, and that's what's happening, guys. That's what's happening, and you get the likes of Newcastle. Like I said, they're still winning at Old Trafford 2-0. They're going a little bit of good confidence. They will fancy the chances of winning on the weekend. And Tamworth, we just mentioned earlier on, Tamworth will be looking at it, thinking, you know what, we're at home. They
It's
don't
a
come
free
in with
hit.
any sort
Give
of
it a go.
confidence. And if they do what you just said, Lee, which start playing Bergvall and make rotations in the team, thinking, hang on a minute. They'll be standing alongside in the tunnel, guys. Honestly, they'll be looking in the tunnel, look to the right or to the left, wherever the other team is standing, and they'll be looking at the team thinking, do you know what, boys? Let's fucking get at them today, man. Really, like 20 minutes, really go for it. See how they handle a bit of pressure.
They're going to be hard and proper men as well, aren't they?
So I'm
You know
thinking
what I
to myself, what have they got to lose? What have they
Got
got
a
to lose? They haven't
3G
got anything to
pitch.
lose. I just think to myself, yeah, let's get at them. And why not? And so I'm thinking to myself, and this is why it goes back to the point, thinking, where do we get our next win, man? Where are we guaranteed the next win? Some of you may think
Where do we
Tamworth
get
will still be
confidence from?
Yeah, where do we get these 2-3 games? Like I said, Newcastle, Tamworth aside, Liverpool in a cup,
So
Arsenal, Everton.
I'm just having a look, Iggy, right? So
Mate,
after the Arsenal game, we've got Everton away, then Hoffenheim away, then we're at home to Leicester, Elfsberg, Brentford, the Liverpool game away again, then Man United, Ipswich, Man City. So kind of in between, like you go what Brentford, Leicester, Everton, straight after that Arsenal
yeah,
game.
but JP, are you going
is
to
an
those
extreme
games in
league
any
game.
way? What confidence do you personally go to any of those games?
Well, right now,
Given our
none.
situation.
Right now, none. Right, but obviously, that's you go. At some point, can they get into their brains? You'd like to think they would do Tamworth, go into Arsenal. If the Arsenal game's close, then does that give them a little bit of oomph under them to go into Everton? Depending how Everton have recently been playing all right.
Everton aren't an easy team.
Yeah,
Dyke's got
they've
them.
been playing all right recently, haven't they?
They've been playing. Listen, they're not. They've maybe been getting a load of draws or whatever, but they're really hard to beat. That's the problem. He's made them hard to beat, which is all we want, right?
But this is the Premier League, right? You know, in the Premier League, like every team's going to give you a hard game, right? You know that already. Even if it is Southampton who are at the bottom, I know we pissed all over them, but a lot of teams will give you a proper hard game, and that's what Ange needs to get into his head. It's not. You can't play this way against everyone and just expect to just go out and roll them over. We're not. I don't think we're in that Scottish Premier League anymore. Like whereas,
I'm with just January alone, I'm struggling. Right, I'm struggling to see how we beat Newcastle. Liverpool, the first leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final. I mean, that could be out of us out of that cup. I mean, how did Liverpool not beat us again after giving us a whooping? I mean, that's going to be a hard one to swallow again. I think that we're going to be very nervous on that night. Tamworth, we should win. Arsenal again. I mean, unless we just have one of those days and we turn up, I don't see how we beat them. Everton, I think, is the draw. Hoffenheim in the Europa League. I mean, again, any other season we should be beating them. I think they're on 4 losses and a draw in their last 5. They're not doing very well. Leicester, call that one whichever way you like, can't you? Really? And then Elfsborg, again, another couple of wins, couple of draws at the moment, and a loss. You don't know how to take these European teams is a hard one to call. So by the end of January, unless results go our way, we could pretty much be 1 foot out of the Carabao Cup and very much having to be in a playoff position in the Europa, depending on how those two results go.
And then
I'm not seeing how it's going to be a very productive January, if I'm honest. But
and
hey, I'm only going off of what we've seen.
And closer to 15th or 16th in the league.
Well, yeah.
Realistically.
Exactly. I mean, realistically, if that's pessimistic or whatever, but we're talking about, I've just rolled off there, which is what, 1 point in 9? And you got to think that, West Ham or Man United only need to get a couple of
draws
on the bounce or something, and all of a sudden we're 14th. I mean, it's not painting a great picture, and I hope it doesn't go like that. But by the end of January, if he's still here, you've got to think that Levy's not touching him. He's not going anywhere. Not until the summer.
I was looking at this earlier, Lee. Right? Heard someone make some daft comment saying, "Oh yeah, but we're only like 6 points away from top 4 or something like that." Right? We are literally 7 points away from 16th, which is just over 2 wins. And you go Newcastle and Arsenal. If you realistically take those two out of it, that's us near that road already. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what I feel, guys? In all honesty, right now, the fan in me is a little bit resigned to what's happening this season. That's how I feel. I'm at that stage where I always follow. I will always follow Tottenham. I will always watch their games, and some of those games are truly painful to watch. But the fan in me is resigned a little bit to. I don't think I don't know if the manager's gonna quit or resign or get sacked. I have zero confidence in this club in terms of how it's run on the football side of things and on a football pitch, and even if they were to sack the manager, employ another one, we will be back here talking about this in 6 months, in 12 months, in 18 months. We'll be doing this whole thing again, the same way we did it after Poch, after Conte, after Nuno, and etc. I have zero confidence in them, so I'm just thinking to myself, at what point does this?
At what point
At what point do not only do we point the finger at the person that hires and fires and really go against the owners of this club, and not only point the finger at them, but remain with the finger pointed at them, regardless of the managers that they change and the smoke screen that they always pull up every year after year and after year. At what point do we say, look, man, enough, And I don't know if this is the year.
Half of these fans on here now are coming out with, oh yeah, but it's no point if Andrew goes now. It will just happen again in 60 months' time. So then go to the ground. When you go to the ground, stand outside and make the person accountable.
The thing is that I know, like, many others have said, do this and do that. Listen, people do what they want to do. It's up to them. At the end of the day, they do what they feel is right for them. But me personally, I just think to myself, and I agree. Listen, I understand the frustration of those that say, we change the freaking managers all the time. If we sack this manager, we're back there again, and we're back there. But this manager has proved now to me, it took me longer to a lot of others. He's proved to me that we're not going to go any further, in my opinion, with this guy. And you cannot say, well, we keep doing this, Iggs. This guy was the wrong appointment, purely and simple. It hasn't worked out, guys. 18 months, we have to say it hasn't worked out. Sometimes there's no shame in saying it hasn't worked out, because whilst I hate changing managers, and I've always backed, I thought getting rid of Jose was wrong, getting rid of Conte is wrong. We get to this guy, we're on a free fall right now, and we don't know when it's going to turn. So for me, I don't think this guy is going to change things around drastically enough to make me believe that this is only a phase, and he will find a way. I don't see it in my mind and in my heart. I don't see the change happening. I don't see it anytime soon. For me, we've got to plug now. So as much as I hate getting rid of managers, and as much as I don't blame it all on sacking managers and stuff like that, I've realised that this guy is not going to be the one. Having said that, you guys are right. For me, if I had my way, I'd reset everything. I'd reset everything at the club. Owners, directors of football, everything, the whole frigging thing, the managers. That would mean I need to just start zero and go again. New ownership, new man, and like I said at the beginning of the stream, guys, there are layers to the club before you get to the managers and players. But right now, the quickest thing you can change is the manager, and then in the summer, new ownership. But then these things are not going to happen in a matter of
new
weeks
ownership
and months.
doesn't come that easy.
It doesn't come
new
easy. I
ownership
understand
doesn't
that.
come that easy.
Although I agree that has to change. For me, if we want to experience any level of joy on the pitch and success on the pitch, success for me equals trophies. Whichever one, man. I'm not snubbing any trophy, man. None of them. For me, any of those trophies would be good enough to start off with, and then in the hope that we can challenge, at least challenge with the other guys. Until that happens, I will never be truly happy as a Spurs fan, and that's where I'm at with it. And now this year, I'm almost as if like I'm getting to a for me, I'm not saying the season's done, but I'm more here than excited about the second half of the season.
Like what I would say is,
I feel like you guys are there as well.
It's easy enough for us or folks just saying, okay, well, it'd be nice to change the ownership, or the ownership needs to change. But if nobody does anything about it, they're literally gonna. Why would they move away? Why is he gonna say, oh, I'm gonna stop taking my free money because it's free money and I don't want it anymore because I've had enough free money? He's just gonna carry on, right? At some point, it has to be made unattainable.
JP, just to answer Greg, you know the Man United manager, all right.
Firstly, just let me say big up to Dan. Thanks, man. Member for 3 months. Where Ange has never known as we.
With Ange, you've never known as we always concede. He's got to go, and I'm hating the likes of playing Newcastle. Yeah, listen, I completely get it. I completely get it, Dan. And I'm not looking. It's not just Newcastle. I'm not looking forward to playing to anyone at the moment.
Of them.
I'm not going to any of those games that we got coming up in the next 4 or 5 games with any level of confidence that we're going to get a result. And I include Tamworth in that, man. I don't think it can be. Come on, Iggs. You can't be serious. Like, we've got to be able to beat Tamworth. Yeah, we should be able to beat Tamworth. Are you going in those games with a level of confidence right now, man? You got to be ready for anything, guys. Honestly, you got to go into the games ready for anything. We might be able to smash them off the park, fine, and then you'd be coming on in what that was expected. But you can come out of it with an FA Cup shocker. And let's not. We've been involved in a few of those in the Colchester United. Remember them? So we have been involved in those as well. So be ready for anything right now.
As a Spurs fan, be ready for anything. Just a big up Spurs Crusade, man. Bless you. Thank you for becoming a member. There's plenty more to come. Don't you worry. And good thing that you remember and hanging with us now. Right. Sorry. Who did you want to have a chat with? Whose comment?
I can't remember. I think I can't remember which one it was now, but one of them was talking about even the Man United one. Yeah, Man United have changed their manager, but
see, I think the Man United manager is very important, right? Because I'm already seeing people asking for him to be gone. Right, this poor guy has been here month, right? And obviously results aren't going his way. Yeah. Now, to me, everyone's just saying, well, it's got to be him. It's got to be him. It's absolutely got to be him. How about maybe, doesn't matter whether it's Ten Hag, don't matter if it's Amorim, maybe this group of players just weren't good enough and aren't good enough, right? How they can possibly chuck him out after being there after 3 weeks, that's even worse than what we're doing to Ange, right? And the way that people call us out for saying he want him out and stuff like that. This poor guy ain't been there 5 minutes. Maybe these guys are just not good enough.
But what did he say?
It's going to take.
What did he say when he started? He goes, the storm. Remember he said about the storm? He goes, the storm is coming, which he goes, it's going to be shit before we can turn it around to be good again. But also, what I would say, for me, the Man United made an error in the management. I hope we don't make that error, even if we were to get a next manager after Pochettino, after Ange Postecoglou. And that is to go and get a manager that's managed in the Premier League. I think United, by getting rid of Ten Hag to then appoint this guy who's never managed in the Premier League, it was always a gamble. And when you get a manager who's never managed in the Premier League, you have to give him, you have to, with him, you have to say, look, we believe in this manager. We're going to give him, listen, we're not going to sack him. He's going to finish the season off, whatever that season would be, and he will go again next season. The bottom line is when you make an appointment and a manager, after sacking another one, to appoint the next manager who's not had any Premier League experience, you've got to expect that it can go right and it can go wrong. For me, the biggest...
No different to Ange.
No, exactly. For me, we would have to get a manager that appoints, that has played, that is Premier League is experienced. It doesn't matter who it is, he has to have been involved in the Premier League, know the Premier League. Because if we can't get sack Ange to go and get another manager who's never managed here before, we're going to go exactly through the same things that the Man United manager's going through right now. We don't want that. So
what I would say, where I see the difference between Ange and that Amarin right now is that we've seen Ange for 18 months. We've looked at his style and we know it's shit and it's not going to work in the Premier League. Amarin, I don't believe he's going to be that daft. He plays free at the back. He's not going to come in with a formation or a process that no one else has ever achieved in the Premier League or in any other major football league, with a formation or anything like that, to come in and try and change the world at Tottenham Hotspurs and give us our Spurs back. I don't think Amarin's going to be like that. I think
he's got to learn the Premier League just as much as the players have got to learn his style, right? This is the thing; it's a learning curve for him as much as it is for the players. Yeah, no, exactly. But I can't believe there are people calling for him to be sacked.
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely daft. He's got let's call it his free hit period now, right? From now to the end of the season, to get to learn the players, to try and play down his little style, and then he gets a couple of windows to be able to get the jigsaw pieces for his style, right? That's them. For us, we're 18 months down the line. We've seen what our manager, the formation he wants. We've seen the type of players he goes out and gets for it. None of it all seems hodgepodge.
Yeah, I mean, Iggy, you're 100% right when you're talking about this guy and sacking him. Listen, I don't believe that just sacking every manager's the right thing. But then I didn't want Poch sacked. I didn't want Conte sacked. I didn't want Mourinho sacked. I never publicly said I wanted these guys sacked. I wanted Conte backed. I wanted Mourinho backed. I wanted the deadwood out of the club. I wanted Poch, give him what he needed to push on after his last season. But that didn't happen, and that comes from the hierarchy. But I've never known a manager to be so inept that we're comfortable keeping him in Ange. I wasn't sold on him from day one. He's never managed at a big club in a big league. So it was always, you're a gamble for me. In 19 months, he's shown me nothing to suggest that he's got what it takes. We've seen what he does in the transfer windows. He's absolutely dying on the sword, saying these are what I've done. These are my transfers. I suggest to all of these. And if this is the case, I'm sorry, he's just not up to it. However much people may hate hearing that, and I might wake up sleeping with the kangaroos, mate, tomorrow morning. I just don't think you can throw another 100 million at him if you like. I just don't think that his ability as a manager suits the Premier League. I think he's a good manager, don't get me wrong, and I think that there is a place for him in the managerial hierarchy and in certain leagues. I just think the Premier League right now is a step too far. I don't even think, again, might sound controversial, but I don't even think if you gave him Liverpool or Man City or someone like that, I truly don't believe that these tactics that he deploys, unless you've got 24 players of all of the same ilk in a team where you can rotate because of the injuries and stuff like that it's sustainable. It really isn't sustainable. So for me, I'd rather have this guy gone now while it's still only halfway through the season and try and get someone in. Again, it's going to be a hard task. It really is. And that's why I don't think he will be gone. That can shore up the team, make us hard to beat. It might not be pretty football, but at least we can get some consistency into the results, which is what we've not got right now. We've got uncertainty and inconsistency, and that's what a lot of people are struggling with, and why this fan base is so divided, and why all of a sudden after half a season it feels like to me, and this is why I'm broken. It feels like to me that all of a sudden we're fighting ourselves, we're fighting within the fans, and that's just can't. We should be together, and we and all this is doing is dividing us, and I think that's pretty sad for a football team, to be quite honest with you, and supporters of a parent, big club in England. It's embarrassing. It really is embarrassing.
By the way, it's Ipswich that won that game. It was 2-0 to Ipswich, not Chelsea.
Yeah, beat Chelsea 2-0,
just to be sure, Lee, you're saying sack him now.
Yeah, I think it's. I think I'd rather get him out now and try and get something else to be a bit more consistent and continue with this gung ho style. If it means Mason in for a couple of matches, sure, so be it. But otherwise we're going to run out of hamstrings. And I went to Morrison's last night, and apparently there's no hams left.
Well, if you go down the route now, that's literally what, just under half a season Mason will get, right?
Well, listen, if we lose, listen, I think Liverpool match is a foregone conclusion. I'm sorry, it is. I can't see how we turn that around unless they put out all youngsters and we just have a good night at the Hotspur Stadium. Then I think but they won't change it. We go back to Anfield. I'm sorry, they're playing their first team.
They'll bring the big boys back.
They'll bring the big boys back. So I've almost written that competition off. But if we lose to Newcastle, who've just beaten United 2-0, and then we go to Arsenal, and we get listed. I'm not going to say a thumping because I don't think we're there just yet, but we get beaten and embarrassed. I don't see how he survives. I really don't. I mean, I'm surprised he's got this far, but he has, and he's still there. And apparently the board are backing him, even though other channels are saying, "Oh, we've got this guy who's waiting for an agreement from Tottenham," which is completely two-faced by the club if that is the case, and I can't see that happening. Then,
see,
I can't see how we can survive that.
Lee, this Turkic, that's who you're talking about, right? I heard he's worse than Ange in a way in terms of being stubborn with his formation. He's even worse than Ange in making subs in the game. Some games he goes without making subs at all. And he's almost just as bad as Ange.
Well, I've found, my understanding is that he's a bit like an Nagelsmann. If he doesn't get his own way, he chucks his toys out the pram. I personally, I don't think that's a good fit for us. I think we need. Listen, we need what we need with the players and everyone we got right now. We need another Poch. We need another Poch that's going to coach these young players, who's going to integrate them and use them. But I don't think they come around all the time, and it's really hard to find someone A that's going to want to come, B that's we could prize away that we ain't going to have to pay a big fee to get them out of their contract. That's why I'm, what I want and what I think will happen are two completely different things. As you said, Iggy, it's pretty important to have, especially halfway through the season. It's very, very important that if you're going to get someone in, you don't want someone that's got to learn the Premier League, right? They've got to know the Premier League. Otherwise, it's just going to be another Amorim. It's going to be another same issue, and that takes the list from that to that, right? And that's why I think he's in somewhat safe to an extent.
Lee, just sorry to interrupt you. There's a question there for you from the lovely Donna
for tomorrow night. Listen, Donna, I'm at that age now where I'll probably be in bed by 10 o'clock. I might make it till 12 to see the new year in. Not sure. We'll see how the day goes.
Oh, bless.
No idea.
But yeah,
just
no,
a bit
fair
like
play.
Tottenham results.
Fair play. So it seems like Ipswich Ipswich beat Chelsea, which is a good result. Obviously Newcastle would be on a high after that result. And then it was like, was it Villa 2-2, wasn't it? Did I see earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair play to them.
The
Fair
thing
play
is
to
that
them.
the results in and around us, teams are dropping points all the times, but the results in and around us, the teams are dropping points, which is normal now. When you're playing so many games in close by, it's going to happen. But the problem is that we're not doing anything. To me, a draw, like numerically speaking, a draw is closer to a defeat than it is to a win, and we haven't won a game in a while, man. Home and away, and unless we're that much better than the opposition that we were, Southampton and so forth. I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. I honestly,
Well,
it's
I mean,
so
we're
bad.
comfortable.
I know when I try to say something positive all the time, and I always try and see, if nothing else. I say, look, I will say, it's a run of games where we're not playing well, and it's a bad run of form. I can see us turning it around, and guys, I'm sorry, man. I'll be honest with you guys. I just don't see it. But I'm looking. I'm not just in terms of results, in terms of how we're playing. I'm looking at as well. Sometimes even if you don't get results, you think you can see something. There's a spark there. There's something. The flame is live. I just don't see it with the players that we.
I'm
With any
on
of
the
them.
same, Iggy. I don't. Listen, I can accept defeat if you play well, and you can accept defeat in a lot of situations, right? You've given it all, you've given it what you got, but just on the day you weren't good enough, and they were just a little bit better. What that doesn't seem to be what we're like. We just seem to be either we're completely off it, we have 5 or 10 minutes good spells, or we're just the inconsistency is the killer.
It
It
doesn't
really
seem
is
to
a
be going
killer.
there, does it?
And no, and listen, you're right. In the way that we are at the moment and the position we're in the table, right? If you look at it, what we've got, I mean, Brentford have got a game in hand, but they've got Arsenal tomorrow, right? Is it tomorrow or Wednesday?
It's New Year's Day, isn't it? I think
New Year's Day, yeah. So even I don't see Brentford beating Arsenal. So that's sort of solidified us in 12th for the time being. Or if they pull off a miracle and beat Arsenal, then that puts us 11th, and that puts us back into 12th. And then we just have to wait to see what the next round of games are.
We need to hit that 40
Man
point
United,
marker.
let's be honest, Man United are just as bad as us. So you got to think where they're going to get a result from.
We need to hit that 40 point marker,
Ham,
Lee.
Well,
just to be safe.
I can't see us sitting that 40 point mark before the end of January because we haven't got enough games.
No, I mean in total.
Stringing out.
Right. I think this question was to Iggy originally, but would you take Spalletti?
Daniela, Spalletti is managing Italy right now, and looks like he's gonna be taking us to the 2026 World Cup, or we certainly hope to be taking us to the 2026. So I think before that World Cup, he's not even going to be an option. Would I take him? Not right now, even if he was available. I'd say no, for the reasons I just gave earlier. I wouldn't take a manager right now that hasn't managed in the Premier League. I think it would be the wrong move. I think we need someone that, first of all, that can bring some level of enthusiasm back, who can strip it down a little bit and simplify things, get the fullbacks to work on the outside again, cut this inverted fullback shit going on at the moment. I can't stand that. Not only at Spurs, I can't stand any teams that play with inverted fullbacks. I just think it defeats the purpose of football right now.
It just scars your brain now, doesn't it?
The fullback should be working on the outside, because all that's happening is the fullbacks are coming in. Then you've got the two holding midfielders have got to cover those spaces in behind. You saw what you had to do the other night to try and cover that position where Spence and Porro went. It's just I don't like any of that. So for me, a manager that will come strip it back a little bit, and the biggest thing is re-energize these players in some level and just drop the high line by 10 yards and set us up in a way that when we attack we can actually hurt teams. Right now the best thing we can do for the team is, like I said, the fullback's going on the outside, drop the line 10 yards and allow those players, like the quick players that we have in the teams, like Johnson, even Werner and stuff like that, and then even the likes of Son, who isn't as quick as he was before, but he's still reasonably quick, to set up not playing counter-attacking football, but certain in a way that the timings of our attack have got to sting. It's like, sting in the tail. And I think we'd have much more success. And also, this playing from the back. If you've got the players to do it, fine, do it.
Oh,
but when you ain't,
in terms of the
goalkeeper, in terms of the goalkeeper who's clearly not comfortable in doing this, you haven't got Vicario to do it, who's not the best at doing it either. But Foster clearly isn't that player. Lee's right. Adjust it. Just go long. Start pinning the balls. Do it ever so often, but just don't do it every.
Right?
Adjust it. This is what I'm saying. Understanding the situation that you're in. How many times in everyday life that we go through things and you're thinking, you know what, this is how I would normally deal with things, but given the scenarios that I find myself in, I have to adjust to navigate the situation. When I am in a position where I'm a bit stronger, then I'll do it the way that I want to do it. But right now, you're in a situation of emergencies. You're in a situation where your first team players aren't playing. You're in a situation where you've got an 18-year-old kid playing at centre back with Dragusin, who's the cover for Romero and Van der Ven, with a goalkeeper that's not my regular, with Jeff Spence playing at left back. Do you understand what I'm saying? When you're in this situation, you have to show a level of, well, I need to navigate the moment. Also, because you're not getting results, I need to navigate the situation and simplify things for the players and for the team to get past this period. So when we do get stronger again, when we do get our first team players again, we can then go strong, proper again. We are not in that scenario. We are not adjusting. We are not making things easier. Results are not coming. Everyone's getting pissed off. How much more do you want me to say on? Yeah, it's just like, do you know what I mean? It's like
the same thing.
It's like, come on, man. It's like you can't do the same things when you're not in a situation to do the same thing. It's like, you're earning lots of money at work and you spend because you can earn it. And all of a sudden, you go through a phase where you might have lost your job, or you might have not earning. You're on a job that you're not earning the same money as you used to, but you're still spending the same way. Where's the fucking logic there? Cut down your spending, adjust it, like to cut down on things that you would normally have no problem spending money in, and adjust to the situation that you find yourself in until the better times come ahead. That's life. And why would you not do that in football? And I don't understand. This is not a manager, a young manager, an upcoming. This is a seasoned manager. This is a manager in his 50s, man, going towards his 60s, and I just, I find it hard to comprehend.
It's a manager that's had his own way in every place that he's been, right?
And this is what I'm saying.
And now he's not got in his own way.
But to recognize it, to not recognize it, for me, whether he recognizes it and doesn't and still goes ahead with it, or whether he doesn't recognize it and still goes ahead of it, it's just as bad. Both scenarios are just as bad, because if you're seeing it and you're still doing the same shit, that means you're just off your head. If you're not seeing it and you're still doing it, that's just even worse, because you're not even seeing it. So I don't know what to go by. He's seeing it and he's ignoring it, or he's not seeing it and he's not doing it. I don't know, man. For me, neither scenarios are good.
It doesn't make sense.
On that
basis, he's biting off his nose to spite his face, or something like that.
For me, on that basis, it's got to go, because if I can't sit and listen and having to see or watch or hear what you're saying, and also the other thing is post-match conferences, his pre-match conference, I've stopped listening to, because I don't believe what's coming out of his mouth, because what he's saying, he changes it. It's like he navigates in how he answers the same ways. He might not want to answer it. He might answer it. He says this, then he contradicts it with that. When I start doing that and I can't level with you anymore, I'm out, man. I'm like, I can't understand what you're doing anymore. I can't even, because even even backing him after knowing all of this, it makes me incompetent, and I don't understand what you're doing, but I'm still backing it anyway, just because I don't want to see another manager sacked.
Mate, there are some big flip flops in the Spurs community, but Angie's the biggest flip flop of them all. The way that he contradicts himself and goes back on what he says. You're right. I've stopped listening to his pre-match and post-match conferences because it's just what frustrates me more than anything is the way that the it's obvious. You can tell that I won't say it's scripted, but the guys in there that are asking the questions have been told you don't go. You can ask this question, but don't step over the line here. Because the amount of times I've heard, people ask him a question and just think, go on, just add another couple of words on the end of that, and that's the question that everyone wants to ask, and then they stop, and I'm just like, crying out loud, yeah. Just ask the question, because there's plenty of people like last week, and they were saying, with the injuries, blah blah blah. Do you think this is? And I was just thinking, if you just added to that and just say, and he comes back and answers the question, says, "Oh, where we got loads of injuries," and then just add to that and go, "Well, actually, Ange, if you look at the statistics, you're no better off with your first choice defenders than you were with the guys that you got at the moment." And I don't think they've done that bad. So, is it really an injury problem? But you'll never get those questions asked because people are too worried about losing access to what they've got access to.
They won't get back in there, will they, to ask questions or get
so they're pointless. So the post-match press conferences are completely pointless. They're not showing reality.
No, I agree.
Because they have an embargoed section as well, don't they? Like one's for the written press and one's for TV or whatever it is. But there you go. All right, so that's that game done to death. I think the only other thing that I wanted to chat about quickly was on that game was obviously Bentancur got another yellow, which the daft thing
I called that, JP. Didn't I call that?
It was 8.
Didn't I call that in WhatsApp?
It was 80 odd minutes or something.
Yeah.
And my understanding is it gets reset after that game because when you go into the new year.
Yeah. He misses out the Newcastle game.
One, he's stupid. Two, what I will back him up with is, I think, again, it goes down to the manager and the tactics and the formation in terms of he's desperately lunging to put that fire out.
That's not on the tactic. He's got that in him. Bentancur's got that in him. We've seen it plenty of times before where he does like a rash challenge, even more than we've seen Romero doing it. And Romero's the king of flying in.
It's frustration now, Lee, man.
But it is frustration. But that's where you've got that's where a player's got to go. Do you know what's the best thing for the situation right now? Right? Okay, we need everyone that we can possibly get. And yet you make a stupid challenge, which is what, on the halfway line? Nowhere, there was plenty of other people there to counter any attack that they had on, and yet you decide to do that. Again, that's players in a situation making the wrong decisions. I just think,
Lee, I've been on the pitch before, man. I've been on the pitch
running over here.
It's not as though it's Tottenham Arsenal, is it? Or if it's Tottenham Chelsea or something like that.
We've all been on the pitch before where we're frustrated. We're going on a run of games where we're not winning. You're frustrated in 80th minute with 2-2. And we just don't, it's frustrating. And all you want to do at that point, you just want to hurt someone. I know it's the sad thing to say, but it's reality. You just want to put a challenge in. You just want to hurt them.
Then his mindset's in the wrong place.
Listen, we've all been there, man. We've all been there. We've all been in that situation. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but I don't. But I've played football and know that when things are happening like that, you just put a tackle and you just think, oh, well, I'm just gonna leave one on him, and that's what's happened to him. He's suspended now, but it matters little at the moment. I think if nothing else, man, he's shown that it does to a level. Not the right way to go about it, but it does care, and he got himself the goal as well. I like him. I like Bentancur. I like the nasty side of his game. I do like it, and you're right. Sometimes, but he's always going to be one yellow card away from missing out in the game. So now he's got the suspension. He's missed 7 already. What's one more going to do?
What's one more going to hurt? Right. The other couple of things I did see. I did make a list about I did see that there was something in here anyway because I wanted to talk about this as well. Like that. Tottenham are the first team in Premier League history to fall behind 1-0 in 15 home games in a single calendar year.
Look at the records with just records after record this year, you know,
Smashing,
and none of them are positives. So.
Postecoglou smashing it. Because the other one I heard the other day is like, if he lost yesterday, it would be the first time since 1955 or something we'd lost 5 games in a calendar month. 1955, but
it's not good, man. It's not. It's not relegation. It's not.
Thank
good.
God he saved that one. I did see this one the other day as well. Like it's like in terms of our average games. Is that a comment? Let's just stop that comment a second. Yeah, it literally worked out to. I don't think this is the same one, but it was something like if we carry on till the end of the season right now, based on our points so far, we'd end up with 51. I think this is so averagely 1.38 per game. The lowest obviously was in 2008. But that's like if this and again so far we're talking about already not beating Arsenal, not beating Newcastle in the next couple of games. So this like end of season points tally could be absolutely dog shit, you know.
We need to make 43 points as quick as possible, JB.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying to Lee earlier. We got to hit that 40-point mark ASAP.
Oh Lord.
And then there you go. These two fun puppets. Obviously that probably changes slightly now. I mean Newcastle probably pumped up a little bit. But yeah, let's just wrap that for now, shall we?
Yeah, like people keep looking up above and seeing how far away from
Need to be looking
European
down,
spots, and then you look at Brentford, look at West Ham, and you can see how quickly you can go to 13th and 14th. And Maz said it the other day, wasn't it? It's like that table keeps extending because we keep going further down. And which is how far we've extended that table.
Yeah, Andy Lloyd. That's a great summary, to be honest.
I'm not even getting into that one, man.
Right, we are at the end of the year. Right, we've been through massive fun this year. Like it has been an epic year, kind of like for us as a kind of like a channel and stuff. You know, we've hit 20,000, we've hit 30,000 even recently. Had a mega amount of shows, lots of views. So big thank you to every single person, every single one of you, who has liked us, who has subscribed to us, who has watched us, especially the guys in the comments. Kind of, you know, like even like today, you know, it's what kind of spurs us on. And I think I've obviously said this before. It started off with us just saying, do you know what? It's us friends having a chat in a pub, and we'll always stay true to that. I think. Obviously, we will
always treat it like we're having a chat amongst ourselves, amongst the people that are watching or follow, or comment, who don't comment. It's just a get together talking about the club. At the end of the day, man, we love this club. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this. Why would we be going through this pain, man? But we love this club and we just want to see it prosper a little bit, not having to keep going through this misery. But look, man, come win, lose, draw. We're here, man. We're here every Monday and other days and doing videos and stuff like that, spending a bit of time together.
And I hope you have, Tommy.
How many times we've lost the game and I've said, oh man, JP, I really don't fancy doing this on a Monday. But then it's like I find it's at the same time when I'm on here, I find it like therapy almost, like, you know, it's a Monday. We should start calling these shows Monday night therapies. Yeah, get it all out, thrash it all out. And we'll go through this emotion, and then we'll, you know, okay, at least if nothing else,
do you have a couch?
Yeah. Come on. At the end of the stream, I feel a little bit lightened about the situation. I'm not happy with the situation, but at least I feel lightened by it. And this is what this is all about, guys. Just spending a couple hours together on a Monday night, just chatting Tottenham.
This is it. Right,
what else we're going to do on a Monday night? What else we're going to do?
We won't go into the next games. We'll leave that till next year. Yeah. So really just saying to everyone, guys, thank you for your support. Have a fantastic end of year tomorrow.
Be safe, guys. Be safe. More importantly, be safe, please.
Yep. Enjoy. Lee,
And,
any last words?
I hope I don't have to pay for this therapy, Iggy, please, if that's all right. I don't mind coming to the sessions. Don't do me with that as well. No, listen,
I'll send you that Elvis song.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
And
now the end is near, and so I face.
Keep going.
I'll stop there. I said Elvis does it a lot better.
He's the next concert on sale, isn't he?
Now, guys, look,
Actually,
whatever you do,
what?
have it. Go on.
Actually, that's one thing that I will say. I was watching the game yesterday. How embarrassing it is to sit there trying to concentrate on a football match when all I can see around the banners on the electronic boards was just the advertising for 50 Cent and stuff like that coming to this. Do you know what? Turn them off, will you? Concentrate on the football. Do it after the match.
You know what? He's plugging that concert big time. Jimmy, I know it's Frank Sinatra, mate, but I love Frank. I think it's great, but the way Elvis sings that song, "My Way," is fantastic. I think it was one of the last songs he did at his concert, and I saw it on YouTube the other night, and I thought he sang it beautifully. And so when I think of that song, I think of Elvis now singing it, and no longer Frank Sinatra. Although Frank's a great artist, by the way. Sorry, just a bit of sidetrack. Yeah, I agree with you. This whole 50 Cent, I'm getting emails about it. I'm sort of sponsors. It's everywhere. 50 Cent, Mary J. Blige. It's like this is who we are, mate. This is who we are.
This is who we are. This is who. Listen, like that annoys you. The trumpet person annoys Iggy, and what annoys me most at the start of the games, we seem to have a disco show now. It's like it's the entertainment center. Get ready for the entertainment. Here we go.
And then the teams come out.
Never mind the football. Never mind the football on the pitch. Let's all have a disco and there's flashing lights that zip all over the place. And everyone get your phones and turn your torches on.
It's a concert now, isn't it? It's a concert.
I'm getting old, man. I'm getting old. Anyways, that's it. That's it for this year.
Chaz and Dave is no more, by the looks of it.
Rabbit.
Chaz and Dave, man.
Anyway, guys, have a great New Year's Eve. Be safe, and we'll see you soon for the next game for sure. We'll be in touch.
Definitely.
As always, come on, you Spurs, guys.
Come on, you Spurs, will you?
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.